A Fun9 proposal, Space Printer Lite was approved to create a web-based interface to the Adosia Decentralized Manufacturing Network smart contracts. In order to understand how this new approach evolved from our earlier plans, let's take a look at Space Printer's origin story. The initial design of the ADO network was a fully decentralized network of 3D printer operators and smart contracts. The first iteration of the product was based on a Raspberry Pi single-board computer and provided a local interface for printer operators to interact with the smart contracts. In the process of deployment, we learned some valuable lessons. Pandemic supply shortages made the availability of the Raspberry Pi disappear overnight. Many of our users were unable to acquire one to participate. While other hardware options existed, they were much more expensive and technically challenging, making it difficult for our operators to connect to the network. For the users who were able to acquire a Raspberry Pi, there were additional tech hurdles that some of these users experienced. For example, because networking configurations were inconsistent, some users were unable to connect to the Space Printer across their local networks. In other cases, user home bandwidth was insufficient for the retrieval of the decentralized manufacturing files over the IPFS protocol. We understood these problems would affect the scalability of the product and the network as a whole. We needed a simpler way for users to join the network without adding technical complexities. The first step was to discover all the places that Space Printer interacts with the smart contract so that we could begin work on the Lite version. As you can see from this diagram, there were a lot of interactions. So we took a look at how each of the different roles in the Adosia Manufacturing Hub needed to interact and boiled it down to these basics. General users will select from the wide catalog of available designs, purchase them, and then follow the process to complete printing. Whereas the design role will use the system to maintain their individual listings and get reporting on sales. The printer operator will be most impacted by the change because they interact with the smart contracts more than any other user on the platform. Taken together, you can see the entire process where the Space Printer Lite will be used in the marketplace to handle interactions for all roles within the manufacturing hub. Ultimately, Space Printer Lite will streamline interactions with a lower technical requirement than the original Space Printer. End users will only require a web browser to perform all of the interactions for completing a sale. This will expand the potential user base dramatically. And while this will not improve the decentralized nature of the hub, it will increase the overall user community. Our plan is to improve decentralization over time by educating users on the value of adding their own Space Printer node when they have the technical expertise and the necessary capacity. Over time, this will provide the Adosia Decentralized Manufacturing Hub with easy onboarding and added decentralization capability.